Hello and welcome to the Electric Feels
Podcast.
podcast. We're so excited to have you today, DEESH. Johnny, aka DEESH, is an LA-based DJ and producer who fuels his passion for EDM with his motto, Electric Energy. His love for the genre even fueled his path to sobriety, a journey he deeply values. While chasing his dreams can get wild, DEESH embraces the thrill. A self-proclaimed goofball, he thrives on the energy of performing and sharing his passion behind the decks. Again, thank you so much for coming on today.
Yeah, thank you. And also, we're so excited. I actually met you through Instagram in January. It was really cool. I liked one of your songs, and immediately you reached out and you had this super positive energy. I really love that, and I would love to hear more about your story and how you got into music. And yeah, go for it.
Awesome. Well, again, thank you guys so much for having me on this podcast. You guys are just doing really cool things, bringing the energy, such good vibes. So it's an honor. I appreciate it. But yeah, I mean, a little bit about me and my story. I started DJing in 2018 for fun. That was when I transferred to TCU. And I just picked it up as a hobby. Didn't really think anything of it at the time. I kind of was just like, let's do it for fun, see what happens. And slowly but surely, I fell in love with it. The whole process of prepping sets, especially like playing live, that adrenaline of giving people the energy on the dance floor. That's why I do it at the end of the day. And I didn't realize at the time that was my reason that's the reason that keeps me going. But simultaneously when I started getting into DJing, my drug usage and my alcohol usage was crazy. That was a lubricant I used to fuel me. And then once I got sober, my mindset and perspective changed, and I'm really grateful that I have 4.5 years now, because if I wasn't sober, I don't know where I would be. So I'm really grateful for that, and it's just been, the past year has been insane. I mean, from Diplo supporting my Inner Bloom edit and Friendly Fire playing my Miracle Maker remix at their sold out show at Academy, and then playing at Time in Exchange. If you told me as a sophomore in college that stuff would happen, you'd have to slap me across the face. So yeah, I'm just grateful for everyone I've met, the process. I think it's so important to remind myself why I'm doing this, and it's because of the passion at the end of the day. I think all the other materialistic success for me is great, but if I don't remind myself why I'm doing this at the end of the day, then the ego starts creeping in, and that's not good. So I think it's always important to stay grounded, embrace the journey, and just enjoy the process. Have fun, be yourself. I think for a long time I was really scared of being Johnny. I thought it was too much for people, being this gigantic goofball. Because people are like, dude, how do you have so much energy on the decks? Are you doing crack? And I'm like, no, no, it's
I
just
find that too. I'm like, it's natural.
totally right. So I think especially this year, and this is the thing I keep talking about, is just embracing Johnny and for who I am as a person, because it's really easy to be ashamed of who we are deep down. And I think embracing that inner child, and just posting content and not being afraid, because at the end of the day, we live in a world now to where social media, it's an awesome platform to really showcase your skill set and who you are as a person. And I think with that, there is going to come judgment from people, no matter how good you are of a producer, of a DJ. And I think most importantly, it's reminding yourself why you're doing it and taking those interactions with stride, because I think no matter how, again, stuff's gonna happen. So I think I'm new to posting the content. I'm finally starting to do it consistently now. I was just really, really scared of getting judged, but I think at this point I was it's the point of no return. It's you got to just go for it. And at the end of the day, I love this stuff so much, and it's something that I guess this is my passion. I just discovered it kind of on my own and kept doing it. And I was like, if I can just give people good energy through my sets, that is my ultimate goal, is just helping people remember that the music can be a drug. So
Absolutely.
First of all, congrats congrats on your sobriety. Like, honestly, that's amazing. A lot of people struggle with that, especially over here in California. There's a big thing going on around here. So, congrats on that.
Thank you so
And
much.
I love how you said, like, people like, you're like, oh, they think that I'm doing drugs or I'm high, but it's just really showing that you just genuinely love music. It makes you move in that way where your energy on the stage is just showing up. And yeah, I just love that.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, I was gonna say something similar. Like, you should be so proud of yourself and how far you've come, not only in your music journey, but in your sobriety journey, because it's something that a lot of people can never get to a place like that in their lives. And to do it so young, and also when you're trying to be in an industry where it's so prominent, and from the
Mhm.
outside looking in, electronic music has a bad rep in that way because you know drugs, alcohol, etc., whatever it is a big part of the culture, and not like it, but it isn't to the people who are making the music, but maybe people who are in the
Mm,
audience and whatnot. But I think there's still a huge community within the EDM industry of people who are like you, who literally thrive off the music and who don't need any stimulants to recognize their love for it. And so it's such a beautiful thing to see you. And yeah, you should always, talk about it and be proud of it, because you never know who you could inspire, in the future. Maybe someone who's like wanting to be a DJ, but they're nervous of getting into the industry
mm.
because they might be surrounded by those things, but
Mhm.
just showing like you can do it. And yeah, it's
Breaking that stigma, because a
exactly,
lot of
you're breaking
people,
the stigma.
and like I feel you sharing your story is going to help so many people. So I
Mm.
love that you are being vulnerable in that way and just, expressing that.
I appreciate y'all for that. Thank you. It is. I do get scared like sharing my story just because like I do think there is a stigma around like being sober, and people have certain judgments against that, which I understand. That just comes with it. But I think for me, again, just embracing myself and sharing my story and helping people and not expecting anything in return from that, just like continuing to be on the path, be a gigantic goofball, because that's just who I am. I don't know. I just something about playing in front of people and giving off that energy. That's why I do it. Like,
It's really the modern day tribe, right? Like we're all getting together and just connecting. And do you remember the moment that you like stuck back and you were like, I want to get sober, like this is
mm.
something. Can you go into that a little bit more if you're comfortable
Yeah,
speaking about
absolutely. On my previous podcast, I went super in depth as to like the final moments leading up to my sobriety. But yeah, I mean, it was just kind of like, you know, 2018, 2019 at TCU. That was just because I was a super disciplined kid in high school. All I did was baseball and video games. Like, I didn't go out. I didn't really experience the party lifestyle. And so when I went to Menlo College my freshman year, I kind of just went off the rails because I was like, oh, I have freedom to do whatever I want, really. So I was really addicted to the partying, to that lifestyle. It's kind of what fueled me. That was like my goal, is to become the biggest frat star possible. And so, when I transferred to TCU, because Menlo wasn't working out, all the coaches left when I signed for baseball, and I kind of was like, I want to go to a bigger school, experience the true college party lifestyle. And yeah, it didn't help. I thought transferring to TCU would make everything better, and it just didn't. I mean, like, although my experience there was great and I met a lot of cool people, deep down I was not happy, because I was just all I was thinking about is like, when can I go get fucked up Thursday, Friday, Saturday? It was just a
that.
horrible, toxic mindset to have, and like, even in classes, that's all I would think about, and I was like, something's off. And I didn't know how to seek for help. I was really scared. I was a scared little boy deep down, like, didn't really know how to ask for help. And then it just got progressively worse. And that summer of 2019, oh God, it was awful. I mean, I was just such in a dark place, and I didn't think I was going to get out of it. And like, one night I just had a really awful experience. I at one point, like, I don't think I was even controlling the words I was saying, because I had so much alcohol in my system. And I truly, like, that was the fight or flight moment in my life, where it's like, I either can keep going and doing what I'm doing, and nothing's going to get better, or I have to make a decision to get sober. And then, yeah, from there, like that night when everything went haywire, I went to detox, then sober living, and then rehab. And I'm really grateful I made the decision to do that, because if I did not do that, I don't know where I would be. So I always remind myself, like, if I didn't get sober and if I didn't discover electronic dance music, like, I don't have an answer, because it's like, I don't want to know. So I'm so grateful, and I always have to remind myself of those experiences I went through, and not being, I think it's easy to, like, for me to forget my past and not want to, like, think about it. But I do think it's important to remind myself, like, I never want to feel like that ever again. So, yeah, I mean, it's been crazy, and like sobriety and like just everything that's happened in my life, like I am just beyond just so thankful, really,
Gratitude's
because
the way to go.
yeah,
It led
yeah,
you to where you
yeah,
are now,
it is.
and it's so cool that you're touring and you're doing all these things. So you turned everything around, and that's really cool.
It's also
Thank you.
so hard to recognize, like, when it's for fun and when it's not, especially being in an environment like college. I went to a big school where the party scene was very prominent and it was normal, like everyone was doing
Mm,
it. So you don't think
yeah,
that you're any different from your peers in that way. And, for you to recognize that you knew there's something better for me. I know that my future is going to be a lot better if I change my lifestyle. That's so powerful, and I respect that, because it's hard to do, being in an environment where partying is so prominent. But I'm curious to know, like, what was the timeline/trajectory of your sobriety, and then, like, when you started taking DJing, like, more seriously, like,
Yeah. Did it feel like art
yeah,
inspiration?
yeah, when it went from, like, this is a
100%.
hobby to I'm gonna go for this, like, I'm gonna devote myself to this craft.
I like that. That's a great fucking question. That's awesome. Damn, yeah, I'm fired up about this one. This is cool. I kind of had a, like, I don't even know how to describe it, but kind of like an awakening, because like I said, I was DJing when I started to DJ, like that was 2018. But again, the using out out of control. So when I got out of rehab, and I went to sober living, that's when I really started to take it seriously and start like producing. I was like a baby when it came to producing. I'm almost upcoming. Basically, like I've been producing for 4 years now, which is kind of crazy to think about. DJing for like 6 years now. It's wild to think about it. I made that decision like, yeah, 4 years ago. It was 2020, like March, April, around that time. I went to Dub Academy, which was like a production school. And then when COVID hit, we had to transition to Zoom lessons. But I started from the ground zero, like not knowing anything about Ableton. I dabbled in it a little bit beforehand, but I was really frustrated. There was so much to learn, and I still have a ton to learn. Like there's always new things to learn in production and DJing. Like it's never ending. But for me, I guess like that initial learning curve was brutal. It was really frustrating. Like lots of nights where I wanted to give up and quit. And I think for me, like all the lessons I've taken from different producers, which is really cool now, you can literally, a lot of big producers offer lessons. So I've been able to work with like Cashew, Cloverdale, like a bunch of Aiden Rudd too. Like there's like a lot of guys offer their lessons, and credit to Cashew. Like if I didn't work with him with house music, like he paved the way for me with the plugins, just like a bunch of stuff. So I'm really grateful for his help. Cloverdale showed me some cool MIDI tips in Ableton. Aiden has been able to mix and master some of my stuff. And I'm a big advocate of like, if you need help with stuff, like seek it. If you need help with mixing and mastering, like use a service. Like no one's going to judge you for that. Like, especially if you're not at the point where you can't mix and master your stuff, like it's okay. Like you gotta seek help. And I would say, yeah, the journey of like learning production and throughout the past 4 years, like I'm just grateful I haven't given up. and like I don't know, the sobriety has definitely helped, because like I remember like I would try to produce, and every time I try to produce, when I smoked weed, I was too lazy. I just smoked weed and I wouldn't do it. So like for me, the when I got sober, I just put my head down and just was like, this is what I want to do. And I don't know, it's just like kind of crazy to think about where I was 4 years ago with the music production and where I'm at now. And then like throwing the Miracle Maker, like I just can't.
Yeah, can you talk about that? You mentioned it earlier on. People are starting to play out your songs in bigger venues. Like,
Mhm.
how does that feel, and what are the songs exactly?
Totally. Yeah. And the funny part is about this project, especially because I have another project called Emerald Gates, which is more like melodic, experimental. It's more so my passion project, but I still love doing DEESH. I love doing both projects. I think my love for house and bass music, like they're intertwinable. It's just I'm just glad I ended up separating them, because I get into two different mindsets with both projects. But with DEESH, it was funny because like the Miracle Maker remix was one of my first tracks. It was, a lot of trial and error with other tracks that I made beforehand, but that was the first track I ever put out on the DEESH SoundCloud page. And before I even put in promo to it, because I used Hype Edit for almost all my stuff. I'd thrown it like $50 to $100, and it helped skyrocket the algorithm, because producers and DJs use Hype Edit as a way to download stuff for free in return of liking and following and commenting on someone's SoundCloud profile. And the Miracle Maker remix, like I don't know, like I still think it's one of my best like remixes ever done. I don't know what my mindset was when I was making it, but it just like um
Mixes are fire,
uh
honestly. Like you have over 33,000 hits on one of the, I think it was the John Summit remix, right?
yeah, no, it's
It
I
hits.
think people, it's funny because for a long time I get in my head about my production level, and I get in my head about, like, oh, my stuff's not there and like this and that. And I think part of that is the biggest struggle, I think, as a producer and a creative is you're always going to get in your head. You're going to think my stuff's not good enough, XYZ, this, that, and whatever. And like, obviously, it's important to get better. But I think really embracing where you're at in the journey with your music production and being proud of what you make and playing it out, because that mindset will really fuck you up and be like, oh, well, it's not good enough. The crowd's not going to like it.
Yeah, like should I add another this? Should I tweak the drum a little bit? Like how many times do I go through and I'm like going like 50 times on the same thing? Like I'm like it's fine. Like you can't overthink it and overdo every little thing. Like it's just that process. Like even learning Ableton for myself, like I can
Mm,
totally relate to what you were saying. It's like I actually went to school and dropped out for and just to learn Ableton. And so I understand like that struggle and how we can be really hard on ourselves and we just want it to be perfect, perfect, perfect. And like I don't know if it's also like my ADHD, but I also have like that thing where it's like hard for me. Like I want it to be like this specific thing to be perfect, but sometimes that like takes away and can like just burn you out
mm,
and just not you just don't want to even share anything at that point. You're just like, ugh, like when will it
yeah.
ever be? Yeah.
Well, and I kind of want to hit a couple of points just based off these past couple topics we've talked about with like, the mindset as producing and also the stuff I put out. I think for one, like when I put those remixes out, I did not expect them to do the numbers they're doing on SoundCloud, and I realized the power of you gotta put your stuff out there, and like I went through this, like I haven't posted music in a minute, and like I went through this really bad phase of trying to be perfect and trying to be like obviously I think it's important to like make sure you fuck with the track before you put it out, but I also think it's like feeling like you need to gatekeep stuff for so long because labels or this or that, and like now I'm at the point where I'm gonna just start showing. I have like 30 unreleased tracks in the vault right now, and I'm gonna just make a bunch of short form content, put it out there, see what people think, and I'm really excited to start putting more of the new stuff I've made. But like, yeah, it's
Yeah, you never know what's gonna blow up. You know what I mean? Like you're
exactly.
actually hurting yourself in the long run because something could have went like viral or things like that. And I've heard that so much. They're like the people that are winning are not necessarily the most talented, the best. They're just putting their work out there like consistently. And that's what matters. People want to see your journey too. They want to see your growth. Like you're not going to be like top, like it's not going to be your top number one hit every single
Mm,
time. You know what I mean? Like
mm,
that's unrealistic. Like that's not how every
Yeah.
artist works.
Like progress over perfection
mm.
every day.
Yeah.
And also I saw somewhere that Don Bresky's most popular song, Simple Hit, he wasn't gonna release it and he posted like a TikTok about it and he was like, shout out to my buddy who told me this song is so good and I released it because now it's my most popular song. It's still being played all over the world and just goes to show, like your perception in your own head could be one thing, but then from the outside looking in, because people don't know what your version of perfect is in the track. And so they hear it and they're like, this is amazing. So yeah, putting yourself out there and social media is so powerful. It's changed the game for artists. And you think about people like Disco Lines who blew up pretty much because of two or three of his
Yeah.
songs and just keep putting yourself out there and you have, a folder of 30 tracks. That's so
Right.
many.
I
Like,
know.
Yeah.
I'm like I know. I'm like really my mindset is such in a better place now and I'm finally starting to put the content out and like I think I'm definitely getting over the fear of being judged because for a long time I was really scared and again like just I gotta look at where I started and like when I started putting those remixes out to like where I'm at now, it's like, yo, like I'm almost at 3,000 followers on SoundCloud. Like let's fucking
Which
go,
is
you
so
know?
impressive.
Like, you
That
know,
is hard. It's
I
not like Spotify, you know what I mean? Like, or
nah,
you can
it's
just, it's like people like, it's not as easy as like sending your family and all your friends, like, you know what I mean? So SoundCloud, if you're doing that well, like that is awesome. You should really give yourself like a pat on the back
I
because that's
no,
like,
I appreciate y'all. It's funny, like I threw the Miracle Maker remix as a joke, like the Inner Bloom edit. I was like, oh, let me make a tech house edit of the most iconic song, and like Diplo found it. Like you don't know
wow.
what will happen, and I was
Yeah.
like Rewire, like the big British DJ. You guys have heard of him, right? Who works with James Hype, does his stereo hype live streams. He
Yeah.
played my left to right edit on there, like it.
You see?
That's what I'm saying. So it's kind of
That's
like
fine.
it it's so weird, but it's like, we're at the day and age now to where yes, can labels help? Of course, like maybe getting management. I kind of realized DEESH, I guess, is my way of telling people, hey, like go after your fucking dreams, man. Like just do it. Like Shia LaBeouf said, just fucking do it. As simple as it sounds. It's like I started out as a kid like playing Jurassic Park in my bedroom, like with my cousins videotaping me, like putting the filter down. Like it was so funny. Like I love Jurassic Park, and I like played the theme song, and it was just funny because it's like to look at like playing in my garage to where I'm at now. It's really reminding myself about the fucking journey and like just it's just so easy to get in your head about stuff, and like I think the biggest thing I've learned is especially now with the mindset and where I'm at is I might not think a track is good, but like I gotta like put it out there and see what the people think too. And like maybe it doesn't do well, but like at the end of the day, it's like if I'm happy with it, that's all that matters. Yeah. Like
Yeah. No, that's a really good, point.
yeah, and I'm kind of learning how to DJ as well, and just in any kind of creative project in general, it's not about the destination, it's about all of the steps to getting to the unknown destination, right? It's about what you learn in the process, and it's not about the outcome. And something I'm trying to tell myself as well too, because nowadays with like data and numbers, it's so prominent. Like how many followers you have, what's your like, all these, and at the end of the day, like that's not as important as what you're gaining. What are the skills you're gaining? Who are you connecting with? What type of person are you becoming? And if you could go to bed at night and lay your head on the pillow and be content with who you are,
Right.
which it seems like you're very much in a good place in your life after everything you've been through, like that's truly what's most important.
Yeah, something I noticed too is that like in my first message with you, you were talking about how you want all of your homies to win. And then in the industry, I've noticed a lot of people kind of like try to step on each other and kind of grimy things. And I really love that immediately that was like what you said to me. You're like, hell yeah, let's go. I want to build an EDM community. Like that energy, like immediately I was like, I want this to be the first person I interview because I love that energy. And sometimes it's kind of hard to find in the industry, So, because that's kind of like energy I like to bring out too when I'm around people. And I'm like, anytime I see a DJ, I'm like, if they're struggling and they need help, because I'm kind of new to it too. I'm like, come over, play on my, DJ board. I got DJs recently, and that was like this big thing. And now I've had her come over before her event. I've had another friend come over, and I just love being able to share that. And I'm like, there's a piece of the pie for everyone. We're all
Literally.
creatives, doing it literally. Yeah, there's it's not like this like step on you like you're gonna take my spot. No, there's openings, there's everything, and I just love that. And that's what EDM is kind of like about. It's like the polar vibes anyways, to
Yeah.
go back to that. You're kind of just like sharing that through that, like your personality, which was really cool.
Well, I appreciate y'all saying that. I mean, like I went through a really nasty ego phase, especially when I was drinking, and like now that I'm sober, I kind of realize like because I do these. I don't know if you guys have seen it, but I've been doing DEESH and Friends events at Canary, and I book DJs who just use like only have personal accounts that don't even have like their own music accounts. And like to me it's like it's not about that. I booked a homie and he was like, dude, like you have no idea, like for you to just be so open to book me, like it means the world. I'm like, that's what this is about, because there's already so much ego and frankly, sorry, bullshit in the industry, like politics. And like I don't want to sound negative, but like for me, EDM and those good vibe, that's what it's all about. Like with all the crazy stuff going on in the world right now, I just think we need positive energy, because like it just like, so
Raising your vibrations through like personality and music, right?
that's what I'm saying. And I want to just continue to build like a really fire community. I just want DEESH to be known as, like me to be known as someone who's inclusive and open and welcoming and just good vibes, good energy, because that's what I'm all about at the end of the day. And like I said, like really just like this year, I'm all about just like really embracing my true colors, being myself. There's going to be judgment involved, but continuing to just keep going and just showing people my vision and having people join me with the journey, and like that for me is it's so important, because it's there's just gonna be times where it's like hard and difficult and like maybe something's not going my way, but I think not setting expectations and just having fun with it, because now like we're in a day and age to where like you don't really need to have a booking agent or a manager or anything to succeed. And I think for a long time I thought I did have to have that, but now I'm at the point where I'm like, you know what, let's do this, like let's put myself out there, let's be Johnny. Like, maybe some people might not gravitate towards that, but that's okay, they don't have to. It's like I can't force everyone to like me, and I don't want to force anyone to like me. It just should be if they gravitate towards me, cool.
Naturally.
Like,
Yeah.
it's just
I'm always like, there's 7 billion people in the world. It'd be really weird for you to assume that everyone's gonna like you. So, but yeah, I had another question too. Where do you see yourself in a year? And like, do you have a dream venue that you've wanted to play, or have you played your dream venue yet? Like,
well, time in exchange, that was insane. I think that was I don't have words. I just like I remember when I got booked for exchange, like I started crying to one of my homies. I was like just trying to process it because I was like, oh my gosh. I would say in a year from now, the ultimate goal is to, be self-supporting through my music, because I work a 9 to 5 right now at Sony Music Publishing. It's been a great experience, but my ultimate goal, make a full-time income through music, like start my own events, keep doing DEESH and Friends, build it out, start my own label. I want to make a label, honestly, that gives artists the full ownership of their masters and their publishing, and like find a way to fund it through nonprofit. I don't know, something to where it just changes the game to where it's, you know what I mean? And like giving back to the artists and the songwriters. Like I think not enough labels do that because they take a big portion. And my
right? They're trying to even, yeah. Sorry.
no, yeah, I mean it's like that, through amount of events, running a label, and I would say, yeah, making a full-time income from music, being happy doing it, like remembering the process and enjoying it. I would say dream. Do Lab is probably right now the biggest one on my bucket list. I'm like determined to make that happen.
He loves the
Yeah, I know, right?
drama.
So
It's the best.
I think also one of my goals too is forming a team for DEESH. And I think it's not just like, oh, like let me hire a manager, like let me hire a booking agent. Like I want to like just form like overall like just like a family of people who like want to help me out but simultaneously helping them out, because I think in the music industry it gets super analytical and political and like people feel like robots, and like for me it's like it shouldn't be like that. It should feel like I love doing this and I want to help this person out and I'm going to give my 100% effort, and it's vice versa. I feel like the artist should be doing the same thing with management or whatever, right? Like I think that for me is just treating everyone with respect, with kindness, with love, like that. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
We need more people in the world like you.
Yeah, honestly, I feel
Seriously.
like you get it, if you know what I mean. Like it's about kindness and raising each other up, and I really love that you have like that family aspect with like you're saying like I want my team to rise up with me, and I've noticed that even recently they were trying to like pass a bill about how artists pay are with like Spotify, and hopefully we get more per stream. So there's like a lot of things going on in the industry right now. So like I feel like us the people are trying to change those things, you know what I mean? Instead of just these record labels doing what they did before and kind of like taking a lot. And I really like that you're like, I want to give the artists like all the royalties for like this or whatever, they get, what they are supposed to. That's really hard because it's hard to make a living
Yeah.
off your creativity. There's so much that we do. I mean, we're like 10 people at once. I mean, come on, we're like photographers, videographers. Now we do all of them art. Like, there's so much that goes
Yeah.
into it, especially 9 to 5. I commend you for like, keeping at it because it's definitely not easy. Like, I'm trying to learn Ableton and that's been so difficult for me, so like I totally relate to that, and like finding the time in the day, and I'm like, no, I just have to remember 30 minutes a day. Even if it's 30 minutes a day, it'll like compound
Mm.
over time. And ask for help, that was something that was so hard. I don't know if it was my own ego, but or like me being shy, but I hated asking people for help. But now I'm like really, really open to that.
Mm.
I'm not like closed off. I'm like, you know what? This might seem like a stupid question to someone, but it's something that's been holding me back. And I closed Ableton for a week for it. Like, that's so silly. Let me just reach out. So, yeah, that's just, I totally get that. So, yes, a few questions?
Yeah, we kind of wanted to do like a fun little lightning round of
Hell
questions
yeah.
of answers that come
Yeah.
on at the top of your head.
Okay.
What is your DJing hot take?
DJing. Oh, I would say, look, here's my viewpoint. I use sync sometimes, and I think people should not be afraid. Like I look, like at the end of the day, you're just providing the good vibes to people. So I think being able to show your passion and energy on the decks is something that, in my opinion, can't be like force. It's just like I feel like that's a natural thing that like if you have the energy and showing the passion, then that takes care of itself in a sense. And like reading the room is difficult too. I think it's just practice, experience, and just showing people that you love it. That for me, I think
Yeah.
that's my hot take. It's just like being yourself on the decks. Like it's scary to do that, but like
No matter how you
fucking
do
do
it, it's
it,
like
you
there's so
know?
there's so many ways to do art. The fact that people are like obsessed like with the whole beat sync thing, I think it's ridiculous. If I would have let that hold me back for my first gig ever, I was just thrown into my first gig because I went to like this DJing school for a little bit, and I was like, I don't know what to do. I'm scared. And they're like, he was like, just use beat sync. It's no big deal. And I killed it. And I would have missed out on that opportunity if I like didn't do it because of that. And so many people came up to me and they were like, have you been DJing for so long? You're so amazing. I'm like, no, this is my first time. And it was so cool to just like get that feedback. And it's like, I can over time, learn how to, beat match better, but I'm not going to miss out on an opportunity because of something silly like that. And, I got to connect with my audience more because I wasn't so worried about like making sure that that was specifically
Mm,
perfect every time. You know what I mean? So yeah, no judgment on the whole beat sync thing. I think that's just a little
yeah.
ridiculous. And
No, you just gotta be
Yeah.
yourself and do your thing. Like art is art, and like at the end of the day, like the art of not giving a fuck. That's like the thing is.
right. And if everyone's
Yes.
having a good time and your song selection is
There you
great, no,
go.
not is not going to care what buttons you press as long as they're vibing. Like that's what they come for.
And going off what you said about like being yourself and bringing the good energy. And Riku and I have discussed this before on the podcast about DJs who are energetically like entertaining to watch, you know, like Patrick Mason, he's like a techno DJ. He does these crazy dance moves, and it made the experience and it, as in the audience, like so much better. And you just feel his energy is projecting out. And if the DJ is having a good time, you're inevitably gonna have a good time because you are radiating off of the energy that they're projecting out, not only with the music but with their vibe, their energy. Even like Fisher, he kind of got big because of his personality, you know.
No,
So
yeah.
always being true to yourself and just not holding back. I love that.
Well, and what I will say too, it's kind of this is kind of something I've learned over time, but it's like, you know, if you take 100 DJs and they play like one track, it's like what DJ is gonna have the most energy, you know? And like obviously like with someone like Chris, like he's not known for not having a lot of energy. I just think like the way his vibe.
His aura, his presence. It's a presence. You don't have to be like, it's like Nora and Pierre. She's not like roo 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 on the stage, you know. She's just like this energy and like vibrance, you know, like you can feel that.
Yep.
Like you can
The
feel
energy
that.
waves.
I don't even have to say it. You know what it is. It's like sound waves. Like it's another thing. Like it's a chemistry that's just
the energy
there.
waves, in my opinion, is like you can just feel it. Like it's one of those things to where, yeah, just.
It's being in your element, honestly. And sometimes when you get, it's like you're in a trance when you're on stage. Sometimes you just like, sometimes the first 20 minutes are like you're getting comfortable, you know, it might be like a different board that you're used to or whatever. And then you get in like this like state of trance where it's just like,
I
I don't know how to explain that feeling. Once you feel it once, like I remember when I saw her performing for the first time, like at the speech event we did, and just seeing that moment where I knew it just clicked for her. It was just like she felt it, she got it, and I have it on camera, and I always look at it.
Hell
and I'm just like,
yeah!
it's just,
Well,
you just know it. If you're a DJ too, like you know that feeling. It's like,
and that's the thing too, is like, yeah, you just gotta vibe, you know. It's like there's no right way to DJ, or I think people get so analytical and harsh, and it's like, look, if you look.
a lot of
Oh my God, I've
too,
seen
like,
some
their
ridiculous
turntablist styles,
comments,
like
and like I click on the page and I'm like, that makes sense. Like, you know, like there's a lot of people that hate, and honestly, I think the hate just comes from insecurity, and they're like, they wish they were in that person's shoes, and
Almost, yeah, and jealousy, I was going to say, because they didn't have access to the tools and the resources that we do today through social media and even the technology of producing and, you know, like DJ boards in general. Like I played on
yeah,
DJ
no,
boards not that long ago,
yeah,
and it was so
yeah,
different. I was like, well, that's what she said. The moment, like, it took me a few songs to figure it out. But yeah, I was like, dang, these people have been playing on these, like, you know. And so yeah, I think there's, you know, they have a lot of judgments because they weren't provided with the same resources and tools that we are, that we're able
literally
to.
though, and that's. I used to have such a bad mindset with the social media. Oh, I don't need TikTok. People are gonna discover me. And I'm like, you know what, Johnny? Like, it's time. It's go time. Put yourself out there. Like, you know, and I guess going through those experiences, I'm so grateful for everything I've learned, because now I'm just in like at a point where like I have nothing to lose by putting myself out there.
said that to myself recently. I'm
Once you
like,
get over the hump of putting yourself out there, then it's all like it all just becomes natural and okay. But like there is like we met over TikTok because I had a music TikTok that I would share music and festival content, and she would share like her music stuff as well. And you know, now we're creating this something bigger than ourselves. And so I think it's just so powerful, and I'm so grateful that I was able to get over the hump, because for so long I was like I don't know. And then I finally did it, and a year later, it's
Hell yeah.
created such beautiful
That's what it's
things in
all
my
about.
life.
It's just
So
yeah, it's just vibing with the homies. Like
community. It's
exactly.
community. Community is everything. I always would say like music is the answer. That was my motto for a while, but now I really think it's community is the answer a lot, because it's just you need that. We can't be, you know,
exactly.
each other's. That's
Exactly.
what this whole thing is about. That's
100%.
always
100%.
together. Like,
Yeah.
Okay.
So we have two more questions here. Who is your dream back to back or collab right now?
Oh my gosh, you know, I gotta say, I would say a craze, 100%. I think, I know he got big off Do It to Do It, but Take Me Away is probably like, I play that in all my sets, and like, he did another song with Joey Valence, which is like that new and up and coming like 80s rap duo, which is sick. And I don't know, I like his like really like dirty underground tech house sound. It's just super refreshing, and I think he's just got like it's just electric. I love his stuff. It's great. I love his new sound. So I'd say for me, a craze like 100% because it's just I don't know, the stuff he makes is dope. I really gravitate towards it. So yeah, 100%. Like his stuff is dope. Love it, hands down. Yeah.
Love that. And then what piece of equipment have you invested in that you think was best for your music career?
Ooh, yeah. I would say, obviously I got my DJ board, which is great. The RX2, awesome. But hands down, like Ableton, like all the money I've spent on it, like I wouldn't take any of that back because now it's like I have a library of so much stuff to use. And I think the perspective of like investing into your brand, into your craft, like once you like make those payments, yeah, you're not going to get it back, but you view it as like, oh, I'm going to make this money back because I'm investing into my career, and like that's the thing is I view it as like when you invest into something, especially with music, like it might not be an immediate return, but you have to have that mindset of like, I'm going to make this money back. It just might not happen immediately, but so for me, like with Ableton especially, I spent a lot of money with plugins and stuff, but for me, like building up the sample library, it's so important because I never know like when I want to use that sample or like when I want to use, so I think, yeah.
Makes the flow so much easier. And I'm just curious, like, what drew you to that DAW specifically? Did you just like research and be like, oh, Ableton's the one, or did you like try Logic and like other types of, GarageBand or
Yeah, I
FL?
did start out on Logic, funny enough, for a couple months, and then like made the switch to Ableton. And I just think Ableton for me, I've just gotten so familiar with the hotkeys and the buttons and all that. So my workflow process is so much faster now than what it was. So I think like, yeah, I'm just glad. I love Ableton. It's great. I mean, it just for me and like the way my brain works, I think it's perfect.
And then, sorry, actually, this is going to be the last
No, you're
question,
good.
but what is your latest release and where can people find you? Is it Instagram, TikTok, your website, all of the above?
Yeah, no. So I only have I only have three originals right now. I have my Party Starter EP, which is two tech house tracks called Ecstasy and Highly Addictive, um, and then Forget You, which is just a solo release. But you can find me Spotify, all the platforms. I have a link tree in my Instagram bio, which lists all the platforms I'm on. And I know like my discography category is very limited right now. I do have like I said some stuff on SoundCloud, but I have so much shit that I'm gonna put out this year. Like I'm just gonna do it. I'm gonna put it out. I think I've waited way too long, and I'm really excited to showcase this new unreleased on TikTok and like all the other socials via short form content, and then just start putting it out. So I'm
Yeah,
hyped.
well, we're excited to hear it. And we
Yeah.
have a DJ duo project, so we'll have to play out one of your Deesh Tech House
Yo,
songs.
hell yeah.
We're gonna keep representing and building that community like we talked
Yo,
about.
hell yeah. I love it. Appreciate y'all.
Maybe we'll see you on the decks with us one day.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're also starting to throw events in San Diego, and I know you're not that far because she has a generator and a bunch of equipment, and so we're trying to build
Yo,
a community
I'm
that way,
down.
getting other people on the deck. So we'll chat
Please,
next.
yeah, I want to
Yeah,
rip it in San Diego. So, like, there's some really cool
yeah,
spots down there. So,
for
yeah,
sure.
yeah.
Can't wait. We're
Yeah, well,
excited.
thanks for sharing everything about you
Yeah.
and having this talk with us. It's been so nice to get to know you, and I can't wait to listen to more of your music and see all of the projects you've been working on and see you playing out and everything.
Thank
But
you.
yeah, thank you
Yeah,
again.
thank you. And thank you also for, talking about your mental health and talking about your sobriety because I know that could, change someone's life possibly. And yeah, that was really cool it's a really good
Of
experience.
course. Thank you guys for having me on. This is just an awesome podcast. You guys are just such homies, and I appreciate y'all. And yeah, like I think mental health and that stuff is so important. So I think for me, it's so important to continuously share my story and make sure that like I let people know I'm a big advocate of mental health because that is no joke. So
Sure.
yeah,
Yeah. We're
And that
glad you're
will,
here today and that you took those
yeah,
steps.
that will set you apart in a positive way too. You know,